let's start with sort of the basics. I think when people think about detox or cleanses, they think like maybe they drink a shake for a few days. I've got this old detox tea in my pantry that's probably expired. I could just drink that for a few days, and that's a good detox, right?
Right. I've learned when I started talking more about detox that there's like some myth busting to do around what it even is, or do
Mhm.
we even need to do it? So some of my kind of MD friends, when they interview me, they're like, do you really need to do detox? That sounds like it's just, some kind of snake oil sales pitch, like the body detox itself. So my answer to that is, the body is amazing. It does detox itself, but we have introduced things to our environment that didn't exist before. And it's a lot on our body. We're exposed, even my clients and your clients who really try to do all the right things. We run toxin tests on them, and there can be some really high levels of things. Some that aren't even in your home. Some are that just like in your air from jet fuel and stuff like that. So it's crazy, and those things can disrupt the thyroid, and then mold can certainly disrupt a lot of systems. And it is a natural toxin, but the way we kind of build our homes and live is not so natural. So it's sort of why how modern life has changed that. So yeah, the body does detoxify itself. Mostly when we think about detox, the way I teach it, is mostly supporting the body's detox systems with nutrition or supplementation or different techniques, just to like help get those toxins out through sweat or the bowels or whatever. So you're not doing something so radical. You're just supporting that. You can do these short-term detoxes like you talked about, and sometimes those can be good because there are a lot of chemicals in our food. Say the holidays, you're having sugar, you're having more alcohol. A lot of those short-term detoxes really help you reset your habits, which is fantastic, and it takes a certain burden off your body, because if you're eating foods that cause inflammation, um, and you take those away even for a week, it's your body's like, sweet, now we can work on other projects
Yeah.
that we have. So I am a fan of some short-term detoxes. I used to run those when I had a clinic, but now more I teach like just the long game of
Right.
detox.
That's interesting. I would love to talk a little bit about like difference between what a short term detox, what a longer term, like more of like a lifestyle thing looks like. Before we get to that, like I want to make sure people understand like where these toxins are coming from. Like what are like some of the top sources that people are, because like you said, our body detoxes, right? We've got all these detox organs and pathways. So what is it that's causing those pathways to not function right, or is it just that they're overwhelmed? So talk a little bit about like why there's such a burden, and like where those toxins are coming from.
Yeah, mostly I kind of started like thinking around your own home. That is where we spend most of our time. So we talked a bit about food, but yeah, not only are there additives in food, but there's pesticide residue, even in organic food, because even
Mm,
if they didn't spray it, it's in the soil now, it's in water supply now. Um, and then if you store your food, like if it comes in plastic, then that can actually absorb into your food, and that's not totally, understood enough. Even if you're avoiding plastic Tupperware, but if you buy like a frozen pizza, it's sitting on a
mm,
thing that has, waterproofing on it. So we ingest quite a bit, and some of it is the stuff we know is bad for us, like food coloring and stuff, and some of it's stuff we don't even think about. Or say you eat out and then you're getting canola oil and meat and stuff, so you're getting some,
mhm,
GMO. You're getting definitely we're all getting a lot of pesticides and
yeah,
herbicides into us, and then we're getting kind of mutated fats if we eat out. So that's one source. So how
mhm,
you buy food, how you prepare food is one. That's often an area people are the strongest at in, when they meet me. They're already doing a lot of that, which is
mhm,
fantastic. Another is beauty products and household cleaning products. Again, in our audience, people are doing usually okay with that. mainstream America is not, both of these categories. They're
Sure.
not. They're still using conventional deodorant, scented trash bags, all that stuff. Those are carcinogens or endocrine disrupting. So they just have, to try to get more technical, they have man-made compounds in them that sometimes look like estrogen to the body,
Mm,
and have other effects on the cells. Some of them like block insulin reception into a cell, for instance, or affect how much hormone we make. So in a simple way, it's like you're adding something to the system that is foreign, and it's
mhm.
it's going to have reactions in the system, like slowing enzyme production or causing inflammation at the cellular wall. Um, so there's just such a myriad of ways, like it's going to break down the body. I think a lot of our obesity problem comes from chemical exposure.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's beauty and household
You
stuff. Go
let
ahead.
me actually, let me interrupt, I'm sorry. Give me give folks an idea of what they should be looking for if they're looking to clean up their skincare, beauty care, what kind of things should they be looking for that, are like estrogen mimickers and disruptors?
Probably the biggest one is fragrance,
Mm,
artificial fragrance. So that's a whole cocktail of ingredients, the word fragrance. And
mm.
if a company is adding fragrance to a product, they don't care about any of the rest of it either. Right? They're not in the space of like, let's have this
Mhm,
be a clean product. So you can look for like parabens and other chemicals, but mostly if it's like a green product, it's going to be fragrance free or scented with essential oils. And then they're probably also aware about their other ingredients for the
mhm.
most part. Um, so I think that's an important one to look for. In makeup, this is harder to see on a label, but makeup can be have a lot of heavy metal in it. There's no label requirement for that, but a lot of colorant is like metals and stuff. So um, I mostly use a company called Beauty Counter. It's like an online company, and that's a cleaner makeup, and they have banned like 1,600 ingredients. So it's a lot. So keeping up with all these ingredients is a
Yeah,
lot. So it's hard to list them all out, but they check for heavy metals. They avoid a lot of chemicals that can be irritants in different ways. They don't have any artificial fragrance.
mhm,
So that's a company I like. If you go to Whole Foods or whatever, there's some companies there. And if you go to a place like Target, some of the things are clean, but some of them are like halfway.
mhm.
So you do have to read a little bit more carefully with those. But like
I've
some
been
brands,
guilty of
I
that. Yeah,
with that.
I've been guilty of falling for the marketing, you see like some lotion that's in like a burlap sack with like a green ribbon on it. I'm like, "That's gotta be good."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're smart. They know that consumers want a cleaner product, but that we're not quite really educated to the level of knowing what to look for. Like
Right.
it's so smart. So yeah, and then it takes, maybe there's different apps. I'm sorry, I don't have like all the names of them, but like
Mhm,
Environmental Working Group is
mhm,
a really great resource for that. But there's some other apps too where I think you can even like kind of scan and see, ingredients. Um, but I think after a while, like you do get some brands that you can trust, like you feel good about,
mhm.
that aren't like a gimmick. It's more like it's really part of the brand's value.
Right, right. Cool.